What's going on, y'all? I want to show you Wave's new plugin called Kaleidoscopes. Kaleidoscopes is a modulation effects plugin that's modeled from some classic vintage effects processors presented with a modern workflow and creative possibilities. So we've all used phasers, tremolo, flangers, chorus. Well, Kaleidoscopes takes these modulation effects and takes it to the next level. Let's check it out. So this is Wave's Kaleidoscopes. I'm going to give you a quick and basic overview of the controls and then we'll get into some examples. So you have Effect 1 and Effect 2, and these both have phaser, flanger, chorus, and tremolo. And this just isn't any modulation from phaser, flanger, chorus, and tremolo. These are modeled after some classic units ranging from the 40s to the late 70s, such as the MXR Phase 90, the Boss CE1 Chorus Ensemble, the MXR Phase 100, the Eventide Instant Flanger, the Eventide Instant Phaser model, the PS101, the D. Armand 601 Tremolo Control, and the Fender Tremolux and Fender Vibrolux. So these are just some of the units that was modeled for these modulation effects. You can run this in two different ways. You have parallel and serial. So right now it's in parallel. With it in parallel, Effect 1 and Effect 2 will be sent down here to the middle and summed in the mixer. When you have it in serial, Effect 1 will be routed to Effect 2, and then that is sent to the mixer. You can also swap channels if you like. Down here at the bottom, we have the Trigger 1 for Effect 1, Trigger 2 for Effect 2. This is going to change how the modulation reacts to the input. You can use this. You can use the side chain to trigger this as well. And it's really just another way to get the modulation going. Going back here at the top, the modulator, you have sine wave, triangle wave, absolute sine, random, your input, which is just the input signal of the sound, and a side chain. And then down in the trigger, if you want to, you can use the side chain as well. Mixer section, you have drive, which is going to add some saturation, and you can do that pre the effect or post the effect or just turn it off completely. Input is your input gain, output is your output gain, and when you're in parallel, you have rotate, which is your pan for Effect 1 and Effect 2. Okay, so that's a quick look at the controls. Oh, let me also mention the character knob here is going to affect the band pass for your modulation effects. So you can have it off or go through these 5, and we'll go through those shortly. Sync is going to sync to musical values like quarter note, eighth note, and then with it off, you just have the speed in hertz. Okay, so I'm going to play this track that I have, that I created, and I've used kaleidoscopes on all of the tracks here. I think we've got a pad, some strings, a lead, a guitar, and I've even used it on the drums here. So I'm going to play this, and I'm going to bring kaleidoscopes in and out. Now I've got kaleidoscopes on all the tracks, and when I bypass it, it's going to remove kaleidoscopes from all the tracks so you can hear what it's doing for this track, and then we'll go into each instrument and see what I did. Okay, we'll start with kaleidoscopes out. So you can hear kaleidoscopes really gives the track some movement going through these modulation effects. So let's take a look at what I did. So we'll start with the first track, which is a guitar. So we're going to bypass kaleidoscopes, and I'm just going to play this track. And here it is with Kaleidoscopes. So let's take a look at Kaleidoscopes and see what I'm doing here. So I have it in parallel mode. So with parallel mode, the effect 1 and effect 2 is being summed to the mixer. And I've got tremolo on effect 1, chorus on effect 2. For effect 2, I'm triggering it with the retrigger. And for the modulator, I'm using triangle, and I'm using the input on effect 2. Let's go through these character real quick so you can hear what that sounds like. We'll start with effect 1. Actually, let's take out effect 2 so we're only hearing effect 1. All right, and we'll do the same thing with the chorus on effect 2. Okay, let's move to the next track. And this is Waves Element, and we've got a classic lead here. Let's bypass Kaleidoscopes. And with Kaleidoscopes. So for this track, I'm using the phaser in serial into the tremolo. So I'm pushing the phaser into the tremolo. And modulator input using a sine wave here. And not triggering anything on this one. All right, let's move to the next track. So this is the Waves Electric 88, and this is the, oh, this is just the default. Okay. And without Kaleidoscopes. And with it. So the next track is Flow Motion from Waves, and this patch is the Digital Choir. So I'm going to play this bypassed with Kaleidoscopes, and then when I bring it in, I'm going to bring in the drums as well, because the drums are side-chained to the modulator input on Kaleidoscopes for this track. So this is the patch without Kaleidoscopes. And now we'll turn on Kaleidoscopes. I'll bring the drums in, and you'll see that the drums is driving the modulation. You'll see the phaser move with the drums. So this is what it sounds like with Kaleidoscopes sidechained to the drums. And the next track is the drums. So yes, I use Kaleidoscope on the drums, and this is, we'll solo the drums here. This is with it without. and with it. So for the drums here, I'm using a flanger into a phaser. And the last track is some strings here. And so for the strings, I am using retrigger, no sidechain here. This effect 1 is set to triangle, effect 2 is set to sine. So this is the strings without kaleidoscopes. And this is with kaleidoscopes. So it really helps to add some movement to those strings. So there's a quick look at Waves Kaleidoscopes, a really cool modulation effects plugin, especially when you get to pairing it with other Waves plugins, it becomes even more powerful. So I'll have more videos on Kaleidoscopes coming soon. I just want to do a short introduction video to show you what this is about. And the intro price for this right now, Waves is always really good with their intro price with new products. After the coupon code, this is only $38.99. So if you want to pick this up, be sure to use my link that I have in the description to check out Kaleidoscopes. All right, any questions, comments, let me know, and I'll catch y'all next time.